So the Pixel 7 is coming out this fall, and this time they have no excuses for this phone not to be perfect. And I gotta say that because there's a lot of things that definitely didn't go right with the Pixel 6 and the 6 Pro. Android 12 wasn't ready, the hardware wasn't optimized, they were trying to program for two different softwares, one for the Qualcomm processor and one using the Tensor chip. So I think a lot of stuff really got lost in translation, and I think also a lot of stuff that was going on during 2020, during 2021, with people working from home, being disjointed, everybody not being at the office. I think there's a lot of different things that you could point to that made for a less than successful launch and product. However, when it comes to the Pixel 7, there are no more excuses. It's no longer first generation technology. This is the second generation of the Tensor chip. Mostly life and work are back to normal, just about everywhere across the board. When it comes to other things like programming, they already know how to program for this chip because they've been doing it for a year. So there is no excuse for everything not to go perfectly when it comes to this phone. And especially, do not rush Android 13. They better make sure Android 13 is right because Android 12 was not. And this wasn't just a Google issue for the Pixel phones. It was not ready for anybody. OnePlus had issues with it. Samsung had issues with it. Shoot, even the guys over at Xiaomi waited way forever long to even add Android 13 because it was just not ready. So when it comes to Android 13, it has to be ready on launch day. It can't be rushed. It has to just be ready. Of course, they're not going to delay that to not be in coincide with the phone. They're going to launch it with the new phone. That's what they do. So the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro, a lot of things actually went right when it came to the launch. The Pixel 6, 6 Pro launched with a lot of fanfare. They spent a ton of money. Their marketing budget was bigger than ever. So there are a lot of lessons learned that they can take from the Pixel 6 and the 6 Pro when it came to that launch and apply it here. So there are no do-overs, I don't think, this time. The Pixel 6, I think a lot of people said, look, it's the first generation of the new chip. They changed a lot of things. They got a new processor. They got a new camera. There's a lot of different moving parts here. But here's something a lot of people may not hammer down on when it comes to Google, or when it comes to the Pixel phones. It's all controlled by Google now. Now, before it was like, okay, we'll get this Qualcomm Snapdragon from somebody else and we'll use our software. That's not something that they can hang their hat on anymore when it comes to the new phone because now they have their own chip, they have their own software. Google makes Android and Google makes the Pixel phones. So when you have them making Android and making the Pixel phones, they, above all people else, should get it right. It should be the gold standard when it comes to Android phones. And it has not been for this last year with this phone. So, and there's also been some other problems as well. When you look back at the Pixel 5a, you look at the overheating problems with the camera. Not everything's been 100% for the last year or two. And I think they kind of slacked off with the Pixel 5a. If we're being honest, if we're going to talk in the trust tree here, I think they already realized that they were moving on to the Tensor chip. They were moving on to the next phone. I felt like it was kind of a lazy launch because the Pixel 5a was essentially the Pixel 4a. There was not, though the 4a 5G, there was not a whole lot of differences. So looking at the Pixel 7, they have to get it right. The software has to be right. The camera has to be right. The hardware has to be right. One of the biggest things that frustrates me, and I even made a video about it, is the depth of field and the near focus and the focusing issues when it comes to certain objects, whenever at a distance. And I'm not talking about 6 inches away. I'm talking about even a foot and a half away. It doesn't quite focus on things right. And there's a lot of reasons, some being the camera and not being a problem if you want to talk to photographers. But when it comes to people who want to press a button and take a photo, it is a problem because that's where the rubber meets the road and that's where you need to make customers happy. And it definitely was not as good as it was with previous Pixel phones. There have been a lot of people that are like, oh, I can't take pictures of this up close. I can't take pictures of that up close. The offset is you have to, well, basically create an offset distance and zoom in. So there are things that they can do to shore this up, to make the phone better across the board. They need to make refinements. I actually don't think they need new cameras. I think they need to stick to what they've done before with the previous camera where they used it for several years. The new ones they have are pretty good. They just need to optimize for them better. And I think that there were problems. Anytime you get a camera and you get new software, I experienced this with the Dimensity chipsets because the Qualcomm chips are very, very optimized for the software and for the cameras. You get a better experience than you did if you got the exact same phone, the exact same hardware, but you had a Dimensity chipset. It didn't quite pan out the same way. Everything was not tuned in. There's been generations, year after year, of tuning for Qualcomm chipsets. So they need to make sure that Android 13 optimized from the ground up for the Pixel 7 and the 7 Pro. And this is their big thing. This is their year to shine. They're bringing the Pixel Watch. They got the Pixel Buds Pro. They can't have any of those connectivity issues like we did with the original Pixel Buds. They have to make sure everything's fine. No more signal issues. No more Bluetooth issues. No more standby sucking up 40% of the battery. No overheating when you use simple things like the camera or GPS. It needs to be optimized from the ground up, and this new Tensor 2 chip has to bring its A game. So there are no more excuses. Google does not have any excuses in its bag of tricks, and neither should the fans, because we should hold them accountable and make sure that the experience we get is what we expect for the money that we're paying. But also, I think that they still need to try and keep the price lower. I don't think a lot of people really expect Google to be selling a phone for $1,199 or $1,099. And this one bit OnePlus in the rear end, and I think that even adversely affected sales before on the Pixel phones because I always thought they were a little overpriced, and that was just me personally. I think a lot of people really appreciated that we got a $599 Pixel 6 and an $899 6 Pro. If they can bring back that same energy, that same kind of price point and perspective when it comes to the 7 and 7 Pro, I think that combined with the big marketing budget, combined with the recognition with all the advancements for the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro that paved the way for the 7, I think that they can have a really, really big year this year. And there are times when brands need to step up to the plate. This last year with the OnePlus 9 was the year to do it with OnePlus, and they crapped the bed. And they just completely lost their way. Everything that just went poorly. It was not a well-conceived phone. It was not a well-conceived marketing strategy. So when it comes to this one, I want to see them take that next step. There's no LG anymore. OnePlus is largely moved out of the way. Motorola doesn't have anything here in the States that competes with it. Sony is selling their new phone for $1599. This right here, this last year kind of take advantage of the market space gap for phones that was left by LG. The timing, I think this is the time that Google is really trying to push, elevate, and accelerate through and to get on the same level as Apple and also on Android. So I think this is their year. Again, no more excuses. No excuses this time. No, oh, well, they'll get it worked out. Well, it always takes a couple months for Google to get things sorted out. There's always problems in the beginning. We can't have this apologist attitude for the brand. They just need to get it right. And if they do get it right, I think that it'll be great for the brand. I think it will be good for Pixel fans because maybe that'll give Google some of that confidence to kind of be more aggressive with things and not just, okay, here's our phones, they exist, you can buy it or not buy it. And they need to keep the marketing and the advertising budget up because it feels like it's really slacked off a lot over the last couple of months. They made a big push all the way to the Super Bowl into early March, and then it seems like it's kind of non-existent. So I feel like keep the money there, push with the marketing, shore everything up, and I think that the 7 and the 7 Pro, I think they really have a chance to be something special in the smartphone world this year. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that Google has a big opportunity here? Do you kind of feel the same way I do with this? Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think about the Pixel 7, the 7 Pro, kind of what we have looking forward to this expectation-wise, because I feel like this is like the sophomore year. I mean, it really is for the chipset, but I feel like this is the sophomore year for them to really solidify things and take it to the next level, because the following year, we've got the tablet coming out, and also we're still waiting to find out about the foldable. So there's lots of cool, interesting things happen. I like to see this excitement because Google just has a lot of things going on. A lot of people really like the brand. So that's all I've got in this video. If you have any questions or comments, please go down in the comment section. I will get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.